Hi viewers. Some time before, the Supreme Court of Pakistan has passed a verdict, has given a verdict, which has nullified the verdict given by the Lahore High Court. I think 2 days back, um, through which the Lahore High Court single-member bench has stayed Election Commission of Pakistan notification, through which Election Commission of Pakistan has appointed the officers from the district administration, like assistant commissioners, deputy commissioners, as the ROs and DROs, as the returning officers and district returning officers. Supreme Court of Pakistan has suspended this decision and has ordered the Election Commission of Pakistan to issue the election schedule immediately. So I see it as a very negative decision. And why it is so, let me explain to you. Basically, most of us know that there is a difference between the executive and the judiciary. We know that the administrative officers functions differently as compared to the judicial officers, who are the lower judiciary judges, the magistrate, the civil judges, the session judges, the district and session judges. So there is a difference between their working style, between their style of doing things, style of addressing issues. They are trained in different ways, and in every system of the world, the administrative officers are kept different from the judicial officers as far as their functioning is concerned, and their domains, their jurisdictions are different, and most importantly, there is a basic principle that you always keep the executive side of the government absolutely separate from the judicial side of the government. So it is a very critical debate in case of Pakistan, because a society which is known because of a very high level corruption in all sectors of the government. Obviously, if there is corruption in administration, there are we can say hundreds of complaints about corruption in the judiciary as well. Uh, but we know and we understand that the judges know the things, know the rules, know the laws, and whenever they are deciding some issue, it is not an simple executive order that please go and do this. No, it is not. They have to give reference of some law, of some rule, and they have to usually decide between two different parties. They are supposed to dispense with justice. They give judicial decisions. When I say that it is very crucial debate in case of Pakistan, I wanted to say that it is difficult to say that judicial officers are best and the administrative officers are not that good. There are problems on both the sides, but as a matter of fact, uh, in the given circumstances, in the given situation, the judicial officers can perform better as compared to the administrative officers, because administrative officers, the officers from the district administrations, are habitual or are trained to follow the instruction, to follow the direction, whereas this is not the case in case of the judicial officers. The judicial officers are trained to say no to their boss if any district session judge is ordering, uh, is asking a junior judge, a civil judge, to pass a certain verdict in a certain case. The junior judge is not bound to that direction. He can simply refuse to obey that direction. But in case of the administrative officers, their whole training is to salute the seniors and to obey the orders whenever they are given and whatever the orders are. So even in case of a system like Pakistan, it is a considered opinion of the experts that the judicial officers, especially in the cases like those of elections, can perform comparatively better than the administrative officers, the officers coming from the district administration. Especially in the circumstances through which the Pakistan is going, in these months, when there are allegations of rigging. The rigging is going on. We all are witnessing that how pre-poll rigging is being carried out by the powerful institution of Pakistan Army. And one political party is not being allowed to hold political rallies. One political party, the PTI of Imran Khan, is not being allowed to announce its candidates, is not being allowed to carry out any kind of political activity. Whenever they announce some kind of workers' convention, it is raided by the police of the respective provinces. So in this situation, when the pre-poll rigging is very apparent, we were expecting that that the process of the elections, when the election schedule will be announced, the process will be monitored, observed, or controlled by the judicial officers. But in a shocking move, Election Commission of Pakistan announced that the officers from the district administration, like the assistant commissioners and deputy commissioners, will be the returning officers and district returning officers for the elections. So no, a lame excuse is being presented that some you can say 10 months before, in the month of February, when the Election Commission of Pakistan wrote to the respective high courts, like the 5 high courts, like Lahore High Court, Peshawar High Court, Sindh High Court, Balochistan High Court, Islamabad High Court, when the Election Commission wrote them to provide the judicial officers to the Election Commission of Pakistan, according to the stance of the Election Commission of Pakistan, all the respective provincial high courts simply refused to provide these officers. Those who know the Pakistan, the Pakistani politics, Pakistani administrative system, and the role of the military in maneuvering and manipulating the election process and controlling the administrative system of the country, we all know that even the judges of the Supreme Court work under the pressure and in some cases the control of the military and the army. This is not me who is saying this. Even the journalists who will be taking a different position as that of my position is today, they have also alleged that judges of the Supreme Court to work under the influence of the ISI or the Supreme or the military. So even the judges of the Supreme Court are accused of working under the pressure of the military for so many years, for the whole history of Pakistan. So in case of High Court, there is no instance that a judge of a High Court will take a stand against any direction coming from the military. In case of High Court, we don't have judges who can refuse the orders from the military or the directions coming from the GHQ Rawalpindi. So we all know that the military has a plan to maneuver, to manipulate, to rig the general elections and install a puppet government of its own choice. And in that situation, obviously the high courts were directed by the military not to provide the judicial officers, because the judicial officers are the people who even if become ready to work under the pressure of the military, they will come up with certain objections on each and everything. How this is possible, under which law or rule I should allow this or disallow this. So there will be the pain in the neck, you can say, and the military was not mentally ready to counter such kind of situation, and they just wanted that we just pass orders and our orders are implemented in letter and spirit, and that's it. So they want the officers from the district administration. That's why the military sent a message to all the high courts. This has already been discussed by many people. It's not an exclusive news that I am giving to you, but this was the case. We all know the high courts are operating under extreme pressure from the military in the whole history, but specifically in these in recent times, in recent months, weeks and months. So instead, that when the Election Commission came to know about the response of the high courts, that high courts are not ready to provide the judicial officer, instead that Election Commission moved the Supreme Court of Pakistan, informing the Supreme Court of Pakistan that high courts are not giving the judicial officers, and the judicial officers are a must for the conduct of transparent, impartial general elections. Instead of doing this, Election Commission simply kept quiet. They did nothing, and just a few weeks before the election, they simply quietly issued a notification declaring that the assistant commissioners and deputy commissioners, the officers from the district administrations across the country will be the returning officers and district returning officers. This was simply ridiculous, obviously. And they also issued a schedule of their training. Let me tell you one very interesting thing, that in case of the judicial officers, though there are training sessions for the judicial officers as well, the training of the election process, but they are usually not required because the judicial officers are well aware of the whole election process. They can undertake that training in just one day. While in the case of administrative officers, the officers from the bureaucracy, you have to train them for like 4 or 5 days, for a week. So they become aware of each and every step of the process before the election day, during the election day, and after the election day. So basically, it could have been very easy in case of judicial officers, and it would have been more transparent. It would have added credibility to the process of the election rigging, if this would have happened. So considering the same, the Lahore High Court single member bench stayed the Election Commission notification, which was obviously very dubious and very dangerous. And obviously, the judge also requested for the constitution of a larger bench, and the larger bench was going to hear the petition. And obviously, they would have passed the order that judicial officers should be appointed. Now, and the process of the election could not have been delayed by 2-3 days. Many news stories have already been published that this exercise, as being portrayed by some of the journalists, that this can delay the election. Many stories I have seen myself, that only this thing was not going to disturb the election schedule in any way. But now, Election Commission moved a petition in the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Let me tell you, Election Commission hasn't moved a petition. Basically, the Chief Justice Qazi Faez summoned the Chief Election Commissioner in the Supreme Court today, and after that meeting, a petition was filed, and the court gates were opened late at night, and the Supreme Court, without hearing the other party, the PTI, which was also present there, because it was whatever happened was what happened all of a sudden. A lady lawyer also reached the court and tried to speak, but she was given a shut up call by the Chief Justice of Pakistan, and he dictated the order. The Chief Justice of Pakistan simply suspended the order of the Lahore High Court. What was that order? That order was simply asking that these officers from the district administration, these are the officers who will say yes to the orders given by the military establishment. These officers cannot conduct a transparent general election. So what Chief Justice Qazi Faez did was ridiculous in a way that he could also simply have asked the respective high courts to provide the judicial officers. It is very strange that he even argued for the other side, and saying that there are many litigants who are waiting for the justice in the lower courts and things like that. He was making all these arguments while sitting as the head of the bench, a 3-member bench. We were hearing this petition. He could have simply ordered that the High Court should provide the list of the judicial officers to the Election Commission, and that's it. And everybody would have appreciated him if he would have passed this order and ordered that the election must be held on the February 8th. But he ensured only one thing. The only thing that he ensured, election were going to happen on February 8th. There was no question of delaying of election. Election Commission of Pakistan has issued press releases that elections are not going to be delayed. But what was the only thing that Justice Qazi Faez ensured was that the election must be held in accordance with the instructions from the General Headquarters Rawalpindi, that the returning officers and the district returning officers must be the officers from the bureaucracy and not from the judicial side. So this was it. This was the objective that he wanted to achieve, and he has achieved. and he has given this order. He could have simply given the order of appointment of the judicial officers, and it was it would have, you can say that it would have been instrumental in speeding up the things, because the judicial officer don't need that much training for all these things. Everything could have been done absolutely within the given frame of time. But obviously, as we are witnessing for the last so many days, that everything is being done in one direction. The Supreme Court is fully cooperating and assisting the Pakistani powerful military in its designs to maneuver and manipulate the upcoming general elections, and that's it. So viewers, this was the today's program, and thanks indeed for watching. If you haven't subscribed the channel of Fact Focus, please subscribe it. Please follow the page of Fact Focus on Facebook. See you in the next program. Thanks indeed.